There are two kinds of people in this world: the ones who create chaos and the ones who clean it up. And if anyone ever talked about the greatest spy alive, there was only one name people feared and admired at the same time: Lance Sterling. He was smooth, fearless, stylish, and impossible to catch. Lance walked into dangerous missions like they were red carpet events. Bullets missed him, enemies feared him, and every mission he completed became another legendary story. To the world, Lance Sterling was the perfect hero, but deep inside, he believed he was untouchable. What he never realized was that every great hero stands on the shoulders of someone nobody notices. For Lance, that person was Walter Beckett, a young and awkward scientist whose inventions were considered strange by almost everyone around him. Walter was completely different from the other scientists in the agency. While others created deadly weapons, bombs, and missiles, Walter hated violence. He believed intelligence could save the world better than destruction ever could. Instead of dangerous gadgets, he created things like glitter bombs, calming smoke devices, harmless tools designed to stop fights without hurting anyone. Most people laughed at his ideas, especially Lance. To Lance, being a spy meant power, explosions, fast cars, and perfect aim. Kindness looked weak to him. But everything changed after a mission went terribly wrong. A powerful cyber weapon, capable of controlling deadly drones, was stolen, and somehow all the evidence pointed toward Lance Sterling. Within hours, the world's greatest spy became the world's most wanted criminal. The same agency that once celebrated him was now trying to capture him. For the first time in his life, Lance felt helpless. Desperate to escape and disappear, he ran to the only person strange enough to help him, Walter Beckett. But Walter was in the middle of testing a secret experimental formula designed for ultimate concealment. Before Walter could properly explain anything, Lance accidentally drank the formula. At first nothing happened, but within seconds his body began to change. His hands shrank, feathers burst from his skin, and suddenly the greatest spy on Earth transformed into a tiny pigeon. Not a monster or some powerful creature, but an ordinary, helpless bird. At first Lance thought it was some kind of joke, but reality hit him hard. He could no longer hold gadgets, fight enemies, or even walk properly. The same people who once feared him now chased him away or threw breadcrumbs at him. The man who once controlled every situation could barely survive on his own. Now Lance had no choice but to trust Walter, the one person he had never respected. Together they went on the run while the agency hunted them down. During their journey, something slowly began to change inside Lance. As a pigeon, he started seeing the world differently. He noticed the ordinary people affected by violence, the fear civilians experienced during missions, and the damage left behind by destruction. For the first time, he realized that being a hero was not about looking powerful. Meanwhile, Walter finally found someone who began listening to him. Beneath his awkward personality was a brilliant and compassionate mind. Walter did not want to defeat enemies through pain. He wanted to save people, even the bad ones if possible. As they investigated deeper, they uncovered the truth about the mysterious villain behind everything. The enemy planned to use weaponized drones to spread fear and chaos across the world. But the most shocking discovery was that the villain had not been born evil. Once, he had also believed in justice and protection, but tragedy and violence had turned his pain into hatred. At that point, the story stopped being just a fun spy adventure and became something much deeper. It became a story about how suffering can transform people and how revenge can destroy humanity. Lance wanted to stop the villain, the old-fashioned way with force, anger, and destruction, but Walter refused to believe violence was the answer. Their different beliefs caused tension between them, until one emotional moment changed everything. During a dangerous mission, Walter risked his own life not to destroy an enemy, but to save Lance. In that moment, Lance realized that true bravery was not about strength or fighting ability. True bravery was choosing kindness when violence seemed easier. In the final battle, the villain launched an army of deadly drones, throwing cities into panic and chaos. Lance was forced to make one final choice: return to being the arrogant spy he once was, or trust Walter's peaceful approach. For the first time in his life, Lance chose trust over ego. Instead of using rage and destruction, Lance and Walter worked together, using intelligence, teamwork, and compassion. A scientist and a pigeon fighting against an army sounded ridiculous, but somehow it worked. In the end, the villain was defeated not through revenge or cruelty, but through understanding. By the time Lance finally became human again, he was no longer the same person. The arrogant spy who believed he was above everyone else had disappeared. He finally understood that true heroes do not stand alone, and that real strength does not come from weapons or fear. Walter gained confidence in himself, and Lance gained humanity. Together, they became better people because of each other. And in the end, the story leaves us with one powerful message. Being powerful does not make someone a hero. Choosing compassion does.